Hey, everybody in Facebook. This is Bob McCandlish here again with the Wisdom Holder series here at the Art of Living Retreat Center in beautiful Boone, North Carolina. Tonight, I'm so happy to welcome Niambi Jaha Echols and her life partner and co-teacher, Rod Echols. How are you guys tonight?
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, doing really well.
We appreciate your time very much. I know everybody looking is really anxious to hear your words. As is
Thank you.
what I'd like to do is to just read a brief bio of the two of you, so the people that are looking in have a sense about each of you as unique teachers in your own right, which you are, and to get a greater sense of the unique chemistry and approach that your workshops and your philosophies have by you both coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So for everyone listening, I want to say that Niambi is an author, inspirational speaker, cultural intelligence specialist, and spiritual alchemist. She's been spending the last 30 years working as a transformation advocate. She's the principal and lead consultant for Cross-Cultural Agility, LLC, where she trains, coaches, and consults individuals and corporations on issues supporting cultural intelligence and new pathways to inclusion. Niambi's passion is helping others to transform their mindsets and personal stuck points so they can deepen their connections to all of humanity. Rod is a certified sound therapist who's been leading individual and group facilitation since 1997. He integrates deep emotional work with sound therapy, further rooting his work with clarity, depth, and balance. Having also worked in the world of technology and achieving master inventor status, Rod combines the spiritual, scientific, and practical aspects of sound and vibration to assist the individuals and groups into states of well-being. We're so pleased here at the Art of Living Retreat Center to say Niambi and Rod will be here live and in person at the center this coming May 14th through the 16th, leading soul to soul, recalibrating our souls back to divine source.
Yes.
Be sure to look it up on our website, which is theartoflivingretreatcenter.org.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've said before, to everybody watching, you're a big part of this. And in the comments section, if you have any questions or comments with what you hear Niambi and Rod talk about, feel free to put it in there, and we'll get to a question and answer session just before we leave this evening. You know, as I was reading these bios, it occurred to me how interesting your each of your individual skills and trainings are. Very, very practical, right?
Mm-hmm.
People come to retreats and they want practical tools to use in their lives. And, you know, Niambi, you talk to corporations, you talk to organizations. And Rod, you're so steeped in science. And I think these are qualities that must make your workshops quite new, fresh, dynamic, and really useful.
Yes.
Who come.
That is always the hope, Bob. That it is useful.
Well, I think there's a synergy between, when we talk about the soul is really vibration. I mean, we are vibrational, energetic beings. And when we get back to recalibrate ourselves back to that knowing, then it makes sense, because divine source is a vibration. And so what keeps us from being there is usually just our humanness and we have to live in this world in the duality of being human and spiritual at the same time.
Yes.
And most of us live in our humanness more than our spiritual and the knowledge of our spirituality. Because some people will say, I got to go and get more spiritual. Well, how are you going to go get more spiritual when you already are spirit.
Right. It lives within us.
It's in you. So you are it. It's like, I'm going to get love. Well, you can't go get love. You can't get or take love, because you are love. So you can only give it and receive it. So it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine some people are pretty stunned when they hear that, because the nature is to go outside of ourselves to find the answers.
Yeah. And that's why we're in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Right. Have a seat, relax, because you got to go in.
Right. It's like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. You know, she clicked her her heels 3 times to get home, and she was already home.
That's right.
You know, she was living in a dream. So everything we need is in us. I like to use the analogy of the ocean, and we see the God source. I mean, we're 70% water, so hopefully everybody can kind of vibe with this analogy. But if we are 70% water, and if you imagine the vastness of the ocean, and if you took a cup of ocean water and scooped it up and took it back to your house, it doesn't become something different, but just because it's separated from the ocean, it's still ocean
water.
Everything that's in the ocean is now in your cup. It's just at a very infinitesimal quantity. And so science, this is where science comes in, is that science they've done experiments that if you do something molecularly to the ocean, it can also change the molecular structure of what's in that, because that water is still connected, even though it is separated in the cup. That's just the science of it. So if we look at ourselves as a tiny infinitesimal source of this big, great, powerful source, divine source, we're just a cupful. Some of us are saucers, some of us are mugs, some of us are barrels, all different sizes, shapes, and capacities. But our job is, I think, that being here in our earth self and our spirit self is in that container, is to really understand how much stuff is polluting your water, that is keeping you from being connected to divine source. So it's like you got this cup of water, but if you fill it full of dirt and things that are not helpful, then you've polluted your water. And that's why you feel like you're not connected. You're not connected to source. You're overwhelmed. You're fearful because your water is polluted. So you have to figure out what's keeping you from feeling and being everything that you should be. Like a lot of people go on this long journey of finding themselves, in their 20s. I got to go find myself, or have some
in the 50s if
in
you're
the 30s, right, midlife crisis. I got to go find myself. And what you're really in essence saying is that I've got to get back to the realness of who I am, the essence of who I am. And the piece where it goes awry is that they take this long journey and then they wind up right back. It's all about you. Everything you're looking for, the material stuff is not going to satisfy you, because what you're looking for is your authentic self. You're looking for that part of you that's connected to divine source, that informs your mission and your purpose and all of those things, your creativity. So it's all in us. We just have to, get rid of some of the pollution. We're environmentally, we understand that, but we don't understand that spiritually many times. We miss that we've got some spiritual cleanup to do in order to, and some social cleanup to do.
Definitely.
But
and that's where the sound and vibration science really comes into the workshop, is because 70% of our thoughts are in our subconscious. And so how do you clear out your subconscious? And the way to do that is through entrainment, prayer. Entrainment is, most people know it as prayer or chanting or mantras, toning. Those are ways to become entrained. I mean, we go to concerts to become entrained because the rhythms And the music entrains us, our bodies and our brains, and puts us in a different state of mind.
Everybody's jumping up at the same time.
Right.
The entrainment is that vibrational sweet spot.
Mhm.
Is that what you mean? You ride those vibrations to that sweet spot?
Well, entrainment is where your body reacts to the beat without you even thinking about it. And as you know, some people might even refer to that specific showing of entrainment as being entranced or being in a trance. But entrainment is where I no longer have to think about it, and so we can entrain our bodies and we can entrain our minds through vibration and prayer or any repetitive rhythmic, especially. It doesn't have to be rhythmic, but if it's repetitive, tonal and rhythmic, there you will become entrained. There's just no way around it. If you hear a certain song on the radio, and especially if your body is and your brain have clicked onto that song, so you've been entrained by it before and you've decided you like it, so whenever it comes on, you're gonna, whatever the beat is, you're gonna literally transform right to that beat. And so in order to do the work that Niambi is mentioning, we have to remove our human self so that we can get to the vibration of our heart, because that's where our true vibration is from our spirit through our heart into our world. And what filters it or taints it or colors it, however you want to look at it, is our experience and then our fears. I mean, it really comes down to our fears, because that's 70% of our subconscious or 70% of our thoughts that are in our subconscious. We don't know how active they are, but they become these stories that are running around unchecked in our brains. And so I'm doing all this surface work, as Niambi said, to enlighten myself and so on. But if I'm not clearing out those patterns and those tapes and that stew, because, you know, a memory, if you went to a party 3 weeks ago and you're a party person, and you also went to another party 4 weeks ago, and you went to another one 6 weeks ago, now in the present, all of those parties become a stew of memories. So in reality, you thought that this thing that you remember happened at one party when actually it happened at another party. And so it's like, so my point is, what's running around in our subconscious has become convoluted. And so we have to be very careful about not taking care of our subconscious. And so by utilizing vibration as a tool to entrain ourselves, and then also whatever form of prayer that you practice in your life, and if not prayer, whatever form of mantras or chanting that you may do, but everything is tied to vibration and rhythm. And so the thing that we really have to do is make sure that we have both rhythm and vibration. And so as part of the workshop, part of what we both will do, but me especially, is show people how to utilize their own bodies as a vessel of healing with sound.
So as Nambi was saying, my body is the vessel. I'm the drop in the ocean. And you're saying, yeah, you got a lot of outside things that are distracting you from who you are.
Right.
Let's go in. So through the combination of your approaches, I guess it creates a deeper connection to what is. So
Absolutely.
I leave you. Is that
more
what happened?
clarity. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
more
think
clarity.
right. And you're moving more from your, again, there's this dance of duality that we have to play. And there's the humanness and our spiritual self.
Mhm.
And most of us are out of balance a lot of times. We're more in our human self. We're more into the story of who I am and that identity of who I am. And that's not always the truth of who you are. That's just a character you're playing in this version of reality. And so when you identify so deeply with that identity, sometimes it makes it difficult to see. Um, some people are so fixed on that identity and those stories that come with that identity
Mhm.
that it makes it very difficult to see the totality of who we are. And so a lot of us spends a lot of time in our heads and trying to understand, how does this work? And why can't we get along? And what is our, all of this just stew, as Rod said. And what we try to do and practice and help other people to practice is listening, a deeper listening. And that listening comes through your heart, which then opens you up to who you really are in your soul. And so there's the understanding that comes through thinking, and then there's the understanding that comes through feeling, and your heart being open, because your head has a brain and your heart has a brain. That's science. You actually have two brains. And most of us, like when we're in relationships, will say, I should have listened to my heart, I should have listened to my head, in choosing somebody. Because we know that there is a duality, and both will take you sometimes on very different paths, because your soul learning sometimes is not so fixed on your physical comfort. Sometimes we have lessons to learn that might not be comfortable, but growth is never comfortable,
Exactly.
But that's where that's the sweet spot really is, when you get into a space of growing. Some people cling to their pain so closely that they avoid any kind of discomfort. And so thus it kind of stunts your growth and everything that you came here to do. So it's just kind of this frustrating circle.
Yeah, it's funny you just say circle, because it's the path of least resistance to growth in our universe is the spiral. And so that's, not to get too scientific, but the golden mean ratio. And so the spiral, just think about it. If I'm growing and I'm a little dot on the spiral, it's just a curve all the time. So I can't ever see what's ahead. That's scary, right?
Right.
So we have to, and this is where the marriage between science and just life is so beautiful, because just knowing that it gives me a little reassurance that, oh, okay, that's just how it works. So I'm not supposed to be able to see around the corner to know what's coming all the time.
So Bob, in our relationship, he's science and I'm life. Okay. I bring the life.
It works both ways, but I mean, that's just when you think about that, and so it you think you're going in a direction, and then all of a sudden you're going the other way. Just be patient.
I think I'm
keep
always going
going
straight when I'm not.
Right.
right,
Because you said, look, you're looking and being forced to pay attention to what, where you are now. And that circular motion sort of says, it's okay. It's not linear.
right, exactly.
Right. Because we like to think, A to B to C. Like, give me the three things I need to do, and then I'm good. I'll have lunch and I'm done.
Right. And that's what makes this whole thing with, where we are in this flux right now within our society, is because people are trying to look for, if you look at what's happening in the country and racism, and it's been analogized many times with racism being a pandemic itself. And so everybody is looking for that vaccine. What is the antidote to this? And what are the like a 12-step program? What are the 12 things we can do? And then we can kind of get rid of it. And it doesn't work like that, because it is,
give me the anesthesia.
Exactly.
Well, that's what people have asked for. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not that easy, but because we're trying to process it through our heads and not our hearts.
Right.
And through our the knowledge of our soul, because, you know, just like that little glass of water, the ocean water, as long as it's polluted, it's just kind of feels like it's on its own. So it only has the resources that are in its cup. So it just kind of uses all of the stories and the garbage and everything that's in there, because that's the only tool that it has.
Yeah.
But as you pour that, you know, some of that, how do you get it to clean water again? You can either dump it completely out, but we don't want to dump it out, because, you know, then who wants to leave this earth if you don't have no source? So we're stuck with this dirty water unless we start pouring a higher vibration in. You know, just like the cup analogy with the ocean, if the cup is polluted, the way to get it back to the vibration of the ocean is that you've got to pour more ocean water in it. You've got to bring in a different vibration than what's keeping it away from it. And eventually, you know, when you're washing dishes, you got a dirty cup, you keep pouring clean water in it, and then it will get clean. And so for us, we've got to raise our vibration in the way and then when we have clean water, that's when the possibilities open up, and creativity, and we can think, as we say, outside the box, because our consciousness is outside the box. And right now, we can't even think of new solutions to solve our societal problems or our personal problems, because we're in this polluted kind of box that keeps us in these toxic kind of narratives and trauma and all of those things. So there is a different way, but we just have to be open to, and that's why we do soul to soul work, because it's not about the human identity. You know, we know that we're all from the human race, but it is our identities, our human identities, that are false. You know, we are cultural beings for sure. We have cultures and ethnicities, but Black, white, all of that was made up. So so we can't resolve it because it's a false narrative.
Right. It can't be fixed because it never worked. Period.
Well, it never was real. It was designed for power.
Man-made.
And, you know,
Man-made.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
I love that the word you chose. I mean, all that we're speaking about is really beyond words, but the word you chose that I love so much, that's so hopeful, is recalibration.
Yeah.
It's not, it's Nami, you were saying, dualistic. It's not, I'm here and I got to go over here. No, you're saying you're already there.
Yeah.
You just have to clean your water up a little bit, and then you'll see.
You'll see. It's hard to see through a dirty glass. You know, I wear glasses, and you know, I see people all the time that, you know, my dad used to drive me crazy because I was like, Daddy, how can you see through those glasses? Because it'd be like this thick thing. But the reason he could see is because we are so adaptable. So rather than cleaning the glasses, he just adjusted to the dirt on his glasses.
Right.
And that's what a lot of times we do. Yeah, he looked beyond it. He saw through it. He found his way rather than making that simple adjustment. So
isn't that a great example of what you're talking about, is to get out from under your filters, to look beyond your eyeglasses, to look beyond that you don't even know it's there.
Right.
And then when you clean those glasses, it's like, wow, I didn't even know.
Right. It's a whole world out here. Yeah.
It's possibilities beyond possibilities, because that is where, in that space, that's when we understand that we really are one. Because when you're in the cup mentality, it's rhetoric, really. it doesn't really mean anything because it's not activated in your reality. And then when you move out of that, then you can see it in a different way. And so that's why, in our workshops, we try to rather than trying to tackle people by let's go through the mud and the dirt, we take you on and that's where vibration comes in, and the sound therapy that Rod does is that we help to elevate the consciousness a bit. And then when we're in that elevated state where we understand and can see that we are all one and connected, now together, we've got more opportunities for solutions. We've got more opportunities to see different perspectives. We have more opportunities to have joy and true, authentic love and connection. And then when we're in that state, now let's all together, let's figure this out. Because we don't then personalize the trauma. We know that we are all in this together. And so then we all come in it to clean up the mess.
Right. We try to activate the heart brain, as Niambi was saying earlier, because that's what really allows the expanded perspective, is because our heart is directly connected to spirit, to our ancestors and beyond. And so what's coming through our heart brain is more pure to our purpose and what we're here for. And it's just more pure. If I feel it from my heart, that means it's there. I mean, there's not words that are going to change it or anything. It's there. It's like embedded in me at that point. And so that's what everybody wants touched. That's what everybody wants to reach into is what is really in my heart, so that I can quit being incongruent. Because that's when I feel bad, is when I feel incongruent. And so if my heart, my head, and my spirit are all in alignment, then I feel better about myself. I can be more joyous in the world. I can be the one that shows up in a crowd and I don't even say anything, and people start noticing that I've come in just because of my vibration. That's what I know I want, and I know from doing many workshops and working with many people, that's what people want.
Didn't we talk about it, our last conversation, about people think somehow the word surrender is a vulnerable thing? The way you described it was that there is some sort of a natural ease, effortless. It doesn't require, a conscious effort to push. It's like when you give a sales presentation and you're like picking yourself up, a couple cups of coffee, you're gonna surround these people with the rightness of what it is that we're gonna do.
Right.
And then afterwards, you're like, wow, why am I so tired?
Right.
You all your effort saying, wait, if once you hit in your heart, and it's not like you think, or you're listening to
Exactly.
say something, you're like, man, she was at school today, I was absent, and I'm never going to get it.
Right.
Once somebody touches that space, there's no denying, and it's such a private thing.
Yes, it is.
Worry about the outside stuff hammering you because you're safe.
Absolutely.
Right.
I've done a lot of work. Most of my my professional, before I started on this particular path, I worked with girls and in some circles on Mama Niambi because of the butterfly, Camp Butterfly, Project Butterfly, the butterfly movement, which is still going on. But I love the analogy of the butterfly because I think it speaks to just our transformation in the real sense, if we really understand it, is that, when that caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, it doesn't have any job to do except to surrender. Because it surrenders to the point of liquefaction. Now that's some deep surrender, that you surrender to the point where you are just, you're liquid. And so everything that caterpillar needs to become a butterfly is already in it. It's not like there's some magic fairy when that chrysalis, when that caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, that a magic fairy then comes and injects it with butterfly juice. It doesn't happen like that.
Right.
What happens is that everything that's in that caterpillar in that chrysalis is now recalibrated, repurposed, restructured. Every experience that caterpillar has had is now divinely, just restructured. And that's where that recalibration comes in. So it doesn't need anything. And so when people come to our workshops, it's not about us fixing you. No. All we do, and just like a caterpillar, all that chrysalis needs is a safe space to do its work. It just needs a safe space for it to surrender, so that the magic and that transformation can happen. So it's not, when we try to help it, just like in a facilitate the real sense of a chrysalis. If you try to help that butterfly out, you're gonna disable it, because the struggle is necessary for it to get blood in its wings. So it's not about avoiding the pain. It's just surrendering that, the pain is necessary sometimes. And so we don't want to look at hard things. We go into denial and shame and all of these other things that keep us crippled, because then we don't get the strength to be able to know that we have the capacity to handle anything in this new form, in this new way of being. In our caterpillar stuff, we couldn't handle anything. But the tragedy is if a caterpillar goes through all of that work and still comes out and just think it's just a flying caterpillar. Right. But it has to transform to the point where it becomes a whole new creature, almost a whole new identity. It loses its identity. And that's the part that we cling to. This identity sometimes is so false. And so then we come to the realness of that part of ourselves that we're trying to find, which is all in us. The magic is within us. There's nothing outside of you that you need. You just need a safe space to get it back to the level that you were designed for. So that's the part that I get really excited about when I see people get their own ahas and their souls light up, and you can tell, because then they leave on a mission and purpose and activated. That's the juicy part for me.
Yeah.
If people touch on that area within themselves and begin that journey, I was just thinking about some of what you've said about fear. It's either fear or it's love, and fear of failure, or maybe fear of success, fear of this breathtaking reality you're talking about is the soul and what we really are. Do you find it, there is a journey, right? It doesn't like go from 0 to 60,
Oh yeah.
Well, all things are possible, and I would never say anything to curtail somebody else's potential 0 to 60 blessing. But it's a journey, and even on the outside, for that person that looks like they went from 0 to 60, you get into their life, and they've been on a journey of some kind. So it's a journey for all of us. It looks different for everybody, although there's similarities to everybody as well. So it's like this this overlap where pretty much everybody experiences this part, but from there it's endless, the experiences and the possibilities of experiences.
So it's two people who are in a nice part of your path. I won't even say it's linear, like you're further down the path, but you guys have been practicing these things and believing and deepening your life experience with this stuff within. Does it just keep going?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that we all have defining moments. And I think as a society, we've had a defining moment with this pandemic. We've had a defining moment with George Floyd and what happened there, where we all were witness around the world.
Right.
And it shifted. It was a shift point. It was a moment that kind of, puts you in a different perspective and and then you have a choice. Do I really go back to what was, or do I now take this moment and this opportunity to maybe do something different or to see it a different way and then become something different or
Right.
live in a different space? So I think when we become aware of all of these moments, like nothing happens in a minute. We're just clocking hours, but it's those defining moments. Everybody remembers moments in their lives. We remember, the moment. I remember when my son was born. I remember when I graduated college. I remember those moments. But all the time in between, they're just,
Right.
nothing is really happening. And so they're not really defining. We look for the defining moments, but they're all in us. And so we get to choose. And so that's where, if I were to give any practical things that people could do, would be, one is to slow down, so that you can actually feel and then have access to the truth of who you are. You gotta slow it down and then become aware of what's in your water, what is polluting you. And then the third thing would just be, once you understand that, is that to have more compassion with other people is to understand that every interaction, all human communication is either a cry for help or a loving response. It's either a cry for help or a loving response. And so if we understand that, because we're all connected, that's the way, it'll be one or the other, then we're less critical, we may have more empathy and compassion with each other when we know that everybody is either acting out of fear or love. And most of us are acting out of fear because we don't know. Our water is so dirty that we don't even know how to be in a space of love, because like fear has all of these acronyms. People are loving, face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. But it's all, people have acronyms for fear. And so I've come up with an acronym for love. It's letting our vibration elevate, letting our vibration evolve. That's what really love is the way that I can love you and and demonstrate my love is by doing my work, becoming a healthy and whole person, living and loving you through my heart and my spirit and my soul, rather than my brain and which conjures up the fears and all of those things and the
Those
trauma and all of
subconscious
that.
thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that's why our workshop is the soul to soul communication, because we can only teach out of the clarity of our experience. And so this is what we've experienced. So this is not something that we think we know. This is something that we know we know. And so we demonstrate it, and we hopefully will inspire other people to do the same. And then out of the clarity of that, then we are able to have fun. We're able to love each other in authentic ways and come up with some real solutions for what ails us all, is the disconnection that humanity is facing and Mother Earth is facing, because we've created some toxicity because we're not really connected to the earth. So
and so we have to put ourselves in a state of being where we can receive far more possibilities than we have been open to in the past, because the population on the planet alone, then climate change, and we don't know what the future holds. However, we have been informed through science and experience to see that there are some things that are changing, and so there's no incongruency between faith and being prepared. So I think we need to really become or move toward that state of being so that we can manifest these possibilities, is what I'm trying to say.
So it's like two sides of a coin, faith and being prepared. One informs the other.
Right.
My friends, some who are art of living teachers, they talk about equanimity, equanimous mind. It's like it's not dualistic. It's having this state of soul, of love, this reality, while we're raising our children, while trying to figure out the new program on my phone that I'm getting upset about.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I do you feel that I guess when I talk to great people like yourselves, I get I'm elevated and I love it. And at some point, something practical is going to come in front of me, and I'm going to be like, oh, and I'll be out of that. My butterfly altitude will go.
Right. So then you check your water. So okay, what's polluting me? What am I? What has now been added to my water that is polluting me? And so it's that assessment, and you have to slow down in order to. It is know thyself. You got to slow it down enough, because nobody is responsible for you except for you. You are the you've been blessed. We've been blessed to have these bodies. And so in that duality of humanity versus spirituality, it is a dance, because we can't be all human and we can't just be with spirit. If we didn't have these physical bodies and we were talking to you, I don't know if your audience would be listening, because it would be like, okay, he's got ghosts in the room.
Right.
So we need that synergy of our body and our spirit and our souls. And we know that on a cognitive level, because a lot of times we will do work that says our bodies, minds, and spirit. And so it is making that integration real, and taking the emphasis off of, Rod puts it on the body so that the body can then be congruent with the mind and the soul. And so then there is this equanimity, because there's no resistance. You are in flow. You're in flow. And so when there is flow, when you're in flow, there is all of the possibilities. Then you feel lighter, you feel more energized, you feel more possible, you feel more alive,
courageous.
Yeah.
And once I'm clear on, and this goes back to the spiral and growth. Once I'm clear on what it is that I should be putting my energy towards, then it has to be followed up with action. And sometimes that action requires courage. And that's what holds many of us back, is not taking that last step of courage. And so being more clear and more balanced, and then also having a community provides that support to have that courage to take that last step of taking the action to manifest that matters for me. And so that's what I'm really hoping to be able to help people with, because I struggle with that all the time, and I make breakthroughs, and some breakthroughs are I don't know, on a human scale, some breakthroughs are here, some are here, but constantly making breakthroughs in courage to actually take the action toward that which I know spirit will support me. If I go there, I know spirit's going to support me, but in order to do that, I got to do this, and that takes courage. So.
Can I go around it?
Yeah. Well, you can try.
You guys, you realize we've been like going at about 45 minutes.
Wow, time flies.
Spend it. I can imagine everybody bums out when they have to leave your retreat. I have to go back out in the cold.
No, I just did
Yeah.
a workshop.
You said, Niambi, you said that, tell us about, you do have a community, you do have tools that people can tap into. You've got a podcast that you're developing, isn't that?
Yes, Rod
Yes.
and I are developing a podcast, and I just did a 4-hour webinar yesterday, as
Yeah.
a matter of fact, on healing racism, and I'm going to do one monthly, and it was well received, and hopefully some of the people that were on it yesterday are listening today, and we're building resources. We're in the midst of also starting an online school to help people with this, just giving more knowledge, because I think,
Right.
some people can learn from some people, and sometimes you just need it said a different way by somebody else. So we'll have different teachers.
Is your vision to have the hub be Niambi Jaha Echols.com?
No, this will be it will be its own entity, Earth Purpose
But
Institute.
you'll have reference to
Yes,
these things
you'll be able
that
to
you
get
and
to
Rod
it
are doing right now. I just want everybody to know it's
Niambi.
Jaha-Echols.com.
Yeah, just like my name on the Zoom. .com. Yes.
Well,
And what I love too is I'm excited about our retreat in May, because I've been able to, Rod and I both have been to the Art of Living and done work there. And what I love is I think that this work couldn't be centered anywhere else. It's just the perfect synergy, because the atmosphere and the environment is so intentional. From the moment you come on campus, everything is intentional.
Yes, it's a beautiful
Just
retreat center.
by the way it's designed, by the food that you eat, by the activities that are available, regardless of what program you show up for. There are things that will support that. Like in our last retreat, we had our participants to also go to the spa, the Ayurvedic spa, and that was another way to release toxins and things that are in your body that you're holding on to. And so it's just a magical hospital.
And did you mention the food? Did you mention
Yes.
that? No,
Oh my goodness. Very clean and good,
Yep.
delicious. You feel this is another version of soul food, because I'm telling you,
Yeah, Indian, Ayurvedic.
Yeah.
Saturday night when you were here and you talked to everyone after our chanting, everyone in the center comes together, and there are still people here that talk about how moved they were with what you did, and it's such a great gift that you both have. So
Thank you.
having you maybe share a little bit more on a Saturday evening when you're here in May.
Absolutely. We had to wait till May. Oh man, I'm gonna come up next weekend. No, I can't come up next weekend. We're still in a pandemic.
That's right.
We always come as soon as it's the coast is clear. You guys.
Yes, we're looking forward
Definitely.
and praying that May will be 2021. Everybody was looking towards 2020, 2020 vision, and all of this is great. And it has been a clarifying year for sure. And so hopefully in 2021 will be for real better.
Yes, definitely.
It's May 14th through the 16th, Soul to Soul, recalibrating our souls back to divine source with Niambi and Rod. And I encourage everybody that's looking now to go to the website, go to their website, learn more from what they're saying, and use it to help your own lives. We want to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Bob.
you.
Always a pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you.
Look forward to seeing you. I hope to talk to you soon.
Yep.
just for anybody before we go, just some housekeepings that the next Wisdom Holder series will be world-renowned shaman and healer named Brant Secunda and 6-time Ironman champion Mark Allen. How's that for a combination?
Wow.
Their workshop here next April 30th through May 2nd. The title of the workshop is their same as their book, Fit Soul, Fit Body, 9 Keys to a Healthier, Happier You. So I just want to say thanks again to the both of you, and on behalf of everybody here at the Art of Living Retreat Center, we wish all of you health and happiness. We hope to see you online and see you on the mountain.
Yes.
Definitely.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Bob.
Guys.
All
See
right.
you soon.
See you soon.
Blessings.
Bye.
All right.